Shalom lekulam. Hi everybody. We are here with the Kinneret. The Sea of Galilee is behind us.
Yes.
I'm speaking loud because the waves are pretty noisy.
But can you imagine?
But it's nothing, yeah.
And not compared to what, 2 nights ago?
Right.
2 nights ago, as most of you know, the storm here came up suddenly. It was definitely a suddenly for everybody that lives in the Galilee, and especially those around the lake.
Yeah. The storm really caused a lot of damage in Tiberias.
Millions.
Yeah, millions of shekels. And it was a shock. We woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was like as if war started.
Yeah, it really was. And one of the things, the reason we wanted to come down here by the lake, is that we want to just get to the scripture. I know that many people, talk about when Yeshua stilled the storm, sheket, still, be still. I want to bring in a point, and I told Noam I have to bring this point in, because, Peter and the guys, most of them were fishermen. Most of them lived in this area, and that was their trade. And the trade on the Sea of Galilee was definitely fish. It was import and export is what was happening. So they were really accustomed to storms that would take place. I mean, they were fishermen. They knew storms. They'd been through storms, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But this one was different. For them to actually say, Noam, don't you care? Don't you care that we're perishing? That meant that they were shook up. That was an unprecedented storm of all times for them as a tough fisherman to say that to Yeshua.
Right, but we need to understand that Yeshua, of course, knew that it would come.
Yeah.
And that we need to understand that obstacles must come, as Yeshua said, hardship must come, because this is what builds us up.
Yeah.
You see, and what they experience on the boat actually humbled them, because they felt they were already, so strong with faith and so on.
Oh,
they can heal.
Ye of little faith.
Yeah, but they felt, we can heal the sick, cast out demons. But now suddenly, with the storm, suddenly Yeshua is showing them, where is your faith? You behave just like non-believers.
Yeah. And the Sea of Galilee is so unique. You realize it's the lowest freshwater lake in the world. It's like 725 feet or something below sea level. And then for all lakes, we know the Dead Sea is number one, but it's salt. It's salt water. So what happened a couple nights ago was that there was easterly wind that came, and when it hit the other side, the wind that came down off the mountains, it hits us like a low point, and they clashed. No. And that is probably what took place with the disciples, and that is what took place here, because there was no warning. And the Sea of Galilee is known for storms that come up with no warning, but this was unprecedented. Why? Because the water level is so high. Yeah. Like it's like right now, I'm thinking any moment now those waves are going to hit Noam's in my back, because you can feel them crashing against the rocks.
Yeah.
But to get back to the Sea of Galilee and what Yeshua was teaching his disciples, because these things are going to come. These unprecedented things are going to come, and Yeshua told us they would come.
Yes, and they need to come. Again, we need to understand this is what helps us to grow.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would be in illusion. We would deceive ourselves, thinking that our faith is so strong that nothing can destroy it.
Wow.
But then suddenly the Lord is saying, okay, I'll show you where your faith really is at. And you go and have a storm.
But which is actually really a blessing.
Yes.
It is such a blessing, because when that turbulent wind hit our house, the other night, our first thought was, okay, it's come. Okay, this is we are because we're close to Lebanon, we're close to Syria, so that was my first thought. And I think, Noam, too, the second thought, when somebody asked me today, was your second thought was check it, be still, and yeah, it was there in my spirit that okay, we need to stand our ground and know that whatever is happening, the Lord is with us, and we have been prepared for these days to happen.
Right. So how do we prepare ourselves for such a thing?
Yeah.
So it's something we need to understand. It's a process.
Yeah.
It doesn't come in one day. And as Yeshua said about building your faith on the rock, it takes time, it takes effort. And
it's the house.
It's the house.
He's talking about, which was unbelievable as a visual, because there are places around the Sea of Galilee that are destroyed. I mean, it's like restaurants are just, I couldn't believe our eyes. And he's saying you have to, build your house upon the rock and not the sand. And people that build their house in the sand, no, it's because there was no preparation. There was no thinking that bad things are going to happen.
Right.
And especially a lot of us believers think, well, it's not going to happen to us.
Yeah.
But that's not what the Word of God says.
Right. So, to be prepared again to that point, in Hebrews 12:27, it talks about the father that discipline his sons. What father doesn't discipline his son? And how do we get discipline? So this I know from the army. I didn't like the army, but it did a good job. It disciplined us. And you don't get discipline by having a good life. You don't. And discipline is a part of our walk of faith that we must have.
Yeah.
In 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 6 to 9, he tells all the things that we need to add to our faith, and one of them is discipline. And if we don't have discipline, then what happens? We have a short eyesight, or we're even blind.
Yeah.
So it's really important not just to have faith, but also to have discipline. And that's part of the things that helps you when crisis comes. Then your thoughts are disciplined, and you're not immediately getting into a panic mode, just like a non-believer.
Yeah.
But we put the Spirit first as, well, the Lord is with me, and we react differently.
Yeah. And even if the calamity, which the Word says, as you read, calamity will also befall us too, because we still live in this world.
Yes.
Like it did with Job. Now, do I want to experience that? I think for Noam and I, with my health, we definitely have experienced some really rough waters where the waves hit at me, and thoughts hit at me, and disappointment hit at me, and almost to the fact where, Lord, this is not fair. All those fleshly, worldly thoughts.
And it's attachments.
Yeah.
It's all about attachment to the physical world.
Yeah.
The less we are attached to the physical things,
Yeah.
the happier we are, and the more we lose our grip and let the Lord guide us.
And to me, I'm going to be honest with you, as a woman, that's an oy vey. That is a really oy vey for me. Because we women, it's like I tell Noam, no matter what happens to us, if we ended up living in a hut, I can make it beautiful. I can, because I decorate. So I can make it beautiful, and I can welcome the presence of the Lord into our home. But do I like beautiful things? Yes. Do I like things spotless and clean? Yes.
Right.
I mean, but that's women, because we're the ones that build the nest. We're the ones that decorate the nest and put the straws over here, put the straws over there, all that.
Right.
So when all of a sudden the nest is wiped out, but when you stand on the rock, your spirit man knows no matter what happens, though he slay me.
And actually, when we moved from the States to Israel, we had the house, 2 floors, 2 cars garage, beautiful neighborhood. and we let it go
Yeah, put it on the altar.
and moved to Israel to live in an apartment building 5 stories high,
I can't.
and it's completely different. So because we knew it was time to come back to Israel.
Actually, the Lord just said, lay it down on the altar. And we came back here to Israel with 4 suitcases. And there wasn't even a fork. Not even a fork to eat something in our suitcase. We started all over. Now, was that a test for me at this age? It was a test for me at this age. To go, what in the heck? Other people have really normal lives. You know, retirement is there and everything is there and their bank account is full and all that. But you know, I chose and I voiced it to the Lord. Lord, let your will be done.
Yes.
And one time I was speaking at a conference. I remember this as long as I lived. And I was in the front row because I was one of the speakers. And the speaker that was speaking came to me and said to me, he said, Deborah, I'm just going to let you know right now, the Lord is going to use you as a Gumby. Now, some of you are too young to know what a Gumby is. I think it's Gumby. Yeah, Gumby, the rubber thing that you twist and you pull and you stretch. Well, I knew what that meant. At that very moment, I thought, Lord, you're going to stretch me when I think I'm going to say I can't be stretched anymore.
Yeah.
But I knew at that moment that was going to be my walk. But in the end, when he was stretching me and things, I thought, Lord, I can't do this. I can't make it. I learned so much about the goodness of the Lord, even in the midst of being stretched to where I'm thinking I'm going to, but I realized, Lord, it's all you're doing. It's all you, because you want to make me strong so that I can endure to the end.
And it's all really, the bottom line is what we focus our attention on. Do we focus on our feelings, on ourselves, or we focus on Yeshua?
Yeah.
You see, and that's why Yeshua said, if you really want to follow me, you need to deny yourself.
Yeah.
Meaning that you don't focus on yourself, your self-pity, and how miserable you are, and so on, but you follow him.
And another thing is like what happened here at the Sea of Galilee, and some places that were really destroyed.
Yeah.
You know, you can't tell me that there weren't some believers that were super affected by it. Too, it's not just non-believers, super, you know, we're all affected by it. Again, just like Job. But I want to encourage some of you. I want to encourage some of you that are so eager to stand firm and to build your house upon that rock. And I know some of you are going through some tough times. And know that whenever we read a post or something and you're asking for prayer, we really do try to take that time and pray for you at that moment. My time is in the morning with all of you. I feel like we're all together in a prayer time,
Right.
beseeching and thanking the Lord for his goodness, that he will get us through it. He will get us through it. And when it's our time to go home, it's our time to go home.
Right, but before that, we still have a lot to learn and
Wow.
grow.
Yeah.
And Job is one person that can so inspire us.
Yeah.
You see, for him also, everything happened suddenly, unexpectedly. He wasn't prepared. It was unseen.
Yeah.
In one day, he lost everything: family, things,
Everything.
everything.
All of his wealth.
Yes.
Everything that he had built up. He lost it. Now, does that mean, what does that mean? I mean, really, what does that mean in this hour? We already know the Lord told us, if we're still on this earth, he will deliver us out of our troubles. But he told us that these things were going to take place. And so we need to be signs and wonders. I think our walk with the Lord is a sign and wonder, because the
Right.
Lord wants to use us for the unbelievers that are going, okay,
Yes.
they're not upset.
Yes,
I don't get
exactly.
it. They just got this bad report. They're not upset. Or they just lost this. What are they going to do now? They're watching us.
Yes.
We are such signposts to the
Right.
unbelievers. And I want to remind everybody that. And I'm so thankful that Noam and I talk about this all the time. Wherever we go, You need to be a sign and a wonder.
Yes.
Because salvation is the greatest sign and wonder.
Right, and we cannot behave like non-believers, but try to be like Job, who
Yeah.
said, the Lord gave, the Lord took away,
Oh,
blessed be the Lord.
Yeah.
He's showing us such total detachment
Yeah,
from everything, including his family.
yeah,
I mean, his sons and daughters.
yeah. Whoa,
Not
whoa,
just material things,
Whoa.
but sons and daughters.
whoa.
But that's why Yeshua said, he who does the will of my Father is my brother
Yeah.
and sister.
Yeah,
It's not just the flesh who is, close relationship that counts. It's
So-
the spirit.
and no, that's so good because we now need to understand without a shadow of a doubt the suddenlies are upon us.
Yeah.
But again, those out there are going to watch everything we say, everything we react, and our hearts is that we have the peace that passes all understanding, and we walk with Him. And we pray for the people that
Yes.
have lost things around the Sea of Galilee because it suddenly came, but we need to be prepared for the suddenlies.
Right. And actually the Lord is teaching us how to be in the world and not of the world.
Yeah,
And only through hardship, only through sudden things like
Yeah.
that we are not prepared,
yeah.
that's how we learn best.
And to stay awake, Noam, and to stay awake.
Stay awake, stay alert.
I can remember when Noam was saying when he was marching with the IDF, and they would march and march and march and march and march and march, and they had to stay awake, and they had to stay awake.
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing for my sweet hubby to stay awake, and as he told me how he suffered trying to, and didn't you fall asleep when
I
you were
fell
marching?
asleep walking, yep.
Yeah, he fell asleep marching. And that's how tired. But in the spirit, we can stay awake. In the natural, sometimes
Yeah.
I think we're out. But in
Yeah.
the spirit, so long as our spirit bed is awake. So we want to encourage all of
Yes.
you. We want to encourage every one of you. We love you. I
Yes.
mean, it's like when people say that, you go, yeah, right, you know. But honestly, sometimes I feel like you guys are our family, and
Yeah.
that you care about us, and that we're standing here as road markers and signposts, and pointing to the way, the
Yes.
way.
And as it says in Romans 5, rejoice in tribulation.
Yeah.
So how can we really rejoice in tribulation? We need to be ready. Our thoughts need to be disciplined enough that when such time comes, we won't focus on ourselves, but focus on Him.
And know that Yeshua's in the
Yes.
boat with you.
Yeah,
know
that's good,
He's
man. That's
in
good.
the boat. We love you from
Love
the
you,
Canara,
yes.
which means harp, in the Sea of Galilee, as you can hear the waves.
Yes.
I just pray and believe that all of you that are listening, that have a desire to come to Israel, that you will be here. Your feet will be standing in this land.
Yes, and may you also be able to be indifferent as the Lord was. He was sleeping in the storm.
Oy vey.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what a total detachment that is.
I'm not sure if I slept through the storm because the lights were flickering everywhere, you know, the air
Yeah, the
conditioning
lights
going
were
on.
getting on
but,
and off.
But I still had such a peace. Well, Lord, if this is
Yes,
if
thank
this
you,
is
Lord.
something that's going to be precedented here, because the wind was like a train coming around our house. Whatever, Lord, I love you. I
Yes.
love you. So
So
blessings.
blessings. Bye-bye.